guys, and welcome to another update for my Merchant 2D game, which is a click resource management game that I'm making in Unity 2D. So today I'm going to show you how I've been programming the mission control panel. I've made a few other tweaks to the UI here as well. I'm making these obviously way too big globules for each of the locations on the first map. And that's so that I can see when the mouse is hovering over a specific location, it'll cast that location to the console, and I'll be using those locations in my scripts. What I want to focus on today, like I said, is the mission control table. So to start, you can see that I have this very basic, very rudimentary mission currency system programmed here, and I'll show you where it is in my resource manager script. And all it is a resources float, and I'm increasing it by 1, timesing it by time.delta time, and then I'm rounding it to a whole number, and then of course casting it to a string, or converting it to a string, and then casting it to a text field. And so that's just going to increase over time as the game continues to play. And what I'm doing with that is I have a mission control table here. This is just a very rough UI outline. And this is being populated a couple different ways. I have a UI canvas. In my UI canvas, I have a few different canvases over here on the hierarchy. I have the quest UI canvas, I have a destination UI canvas, and the one we're talking about right now is the mission UI canvas, and I can just turn that to active and inactive. So when it is active, I have a mission UI, this is showing you the prefab here, mission UI field here with a script on it, a mission list with a script on it, mission list UI, and then each of these individual missions is a prefab. We're not showing right now because the canvas is not activated. So this is the prefab for the mission UI, and these are the prefabs for each of the scripts, or for each of the missions. So what's happening is that the game is checking to see how many missions I currently have, and it's doing that through an array. I'll show you here on the mission list. The goal is to be populating this not manually but through code, but for now I'm populating it manually. So there's a missions array, which is the number of missions that are currently available in the game, and I'm populating this through a scriptable object. So I have a mission scriptable object, which is this thing right here, and it's got a couple of different fields I can fill out: starting destination, an ending destination, and the resources required to do that mission. I've got getters here so that I can retrieve these values, and then I have mocked up some of these. So these are the scriptable objects with the different values filled out. So this one's Newtown to Honoria. So these are two locations on my map that you can see here, Newtown and Honoria, and the goal is to have my ship, or have the player's ship, travel between these two locations once the mission is selected. And you can see the resources required. And so each of these scriptable objects has the same fields to fill out, but they have different values in the fields. So the mission list is going to take the scriptable objects in, and so there are 3. It's going to know to populate the mission list with 3 mission prefabs, and so that's where it's doing this. It's populating the list with the number of mission prefabs that are needed. So in this case 3. I could change that. I could put more missions in this array if I wanted. And then it's going to go over to the mission item UI script and run update mission, passing over the missions that are currently in the game. So on the mission item UI script, I'm going to go and take, now this is messy, it has not been refactored. So I'm doing lots of calls to different scripts right here. This can obviously be cleaned up, but essentially I'm going into the scriptable object for each of the individual missions that are in the game, getting the ending destination, starting destination, and the resources required, and then I'm concatenating all of those together into a string and then casting that to the mission string field on the mission prefab. So the result is that we have the different fields. So we've got starting destination, ending destination, and the resources required. And you can see that it's doing a different string. It's concatenating a different string for each of the 3 missions that are currently in the game. So that's great. The next thing that I needed to do was to be able to determine upon clicking on the missions, which mission I was actually clicking on. And the way I ended up doing that was by adding a listener. So I have a button on the mission prefab, and I've never actually used this add listener called myself. And I was confused for a while because I knew that I needed to pass in the individual mission. And so I discovered that I can use this delegate here. That will allow me to pass in the mission. And it will take me down to this find mission name method, again passing in the mission. The selected mission is going to become the current mission, so the mission that I'm clicking on, the name of that mission, and then I'm going to pass that over to the mission manager script. So in the mission manager script, I have the start mission. It's basically going to find, and this was another challenge I had, which was matching the string name of the mission to basically finding which scriptable object that corresponds with. So I ended up doing that with a for each loop. I end up with this correct mission variable, which is basically identifying which scriptable object corresponds to the mission I've clicked on. And then I'm going to check for resources. So I'm basically just making a call to the resource manager script to check how many resources it costs to run that mission. If there are enough resources, so if it's greater than or equal to the resources that I currently have, or actually if the resources I currently have is greater than or equal to the resources required for this specific mission that I've clicked on, then it's going to debug log to the console mission is active. And also I've just thrown a boolean on here, which I'll probably end up using later for something else. It's going to say not enough resources. So let's see that in action. And I'm warning you, in the console I have some other lovely error codes, which I will be taking care of. They don't pertain to the mission manager script right now. It has to do with the day-night system, which I'm not currently working on. So if I click on the new town to Honoria, you can see down here, not enough resources, because at the time I clicked on it, I had not yet got 10 resources. Now that we're over 10 resources, I can click on it and it says mission is active. Now, I don't have it currently programmed in that the amount is being subtracted from the resource counter. Obviously that will happen in game. When you spend resources, it's going to be subtracted from your total. But this is just showing you that now that we're over 30 resources, I can do Honoria to Vale Mountains, I can do Vale Mountains to Newtown, and they are all going. We have mission is active, and you can see at the bottom here, this number 6 is counting up the number of times the mission is active is being printed to the console, and it's doing it for all of them. So again, just to show you when I first start running the game, when I have fewer resources, if I click on Vale Mountains to Newtown, which costs 30 resources, I'm getting the not enough resources error message. I will continue to do that until I've reached 30 resources. So this is what I've been working on this week. Took a lot of work. I have a lot of different scripts interacting with each other. I have the mission manager, which basically is the headquarters for running missions. I have the mission scriptable object. I have the mission list UI, which decides how many mission prefabs to instantiate. And then I have the mission item IU or UI, which basically will show the details for each mission. And as I have it now, it's in a string. So that's it for this week's update. As I go forward, I'm going to be obviously making it so that resources are spent when you actually click on a mission, and I'm going to be instantiating the ship or moving the player ship. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet between the locations, and some other fun things will happen. You'll meet some NPCs, you'll get some dialogue, and you'll get some rewards. I'm really happy with the progress that I'm making on this so far, and I hope I will see you in a future update. Bye for now.